On today's episode of the South Texas Skillet, I'm going to show you how to make my all-time favorite cheese enchiladas with a chili sauce. These enchiladas are a Tex-mex staple, and you can find them at almost every Mexican food restaurant in the state. All right, let's get started. So we're going to start by browning some ground beef. This is a little bit less than a pound. And it is 80-20 ground meat. So we're going to have some grease left over after the meat is done cooking, but we're going to use that to help us make our gravy. So you're going to notice that I don't season my ground meat right away, and that's because if this produces a lot of grease, I'm going to have to take some of it off, and I don't want to take away any of the seasoning. So I'm actually going to cook the meat first before I put any seasonings or spices into it. So there's not a lot of grease in the bottom of my pan today, which is great. I am going to go ahead and season the meat with some salt and some pepper. I'll do my other seasonings later. And I'm not going to drain any of this fat off. I need all of it for our roux when we go to make our gravy. All right, I'm going to add in some onion. This is half of a large onion. I'm going to do all of that. Saute this until your onion is translucent and pretty tender. Once your onions are cooked, you're going to add in your garlic and just cook this for about 30 seconds or so. You'll know it's done whenever it's fragrant. All right. To that, we're going to add in some chili powder. You want about 2 tablespoons or so. It doesn't have to be perfect measurements. We're going to taste the seasoning in a little bit, and then we'll add what we need to. Okay, you're going to do some onion powder. Maybe about a teaspoon, so that was 2 tablespoons of the chili, about a teaspoon or so of the onion powder, and about a teaspoon of the garlic powder. We're going to do a teaspoon of paprika. And just a little bit of cayenne to give it some heat. You can leave this out if you want to. So the chili powder and the paprika and the cayenne, you really do want those to cook in grease or in the oil. They're oil soluble. So you want them to cook in oil before you add your liquid. That's going to give you the most flavor out of those spices. So I mix those in with all of the fat and everything still in there. We're going to do that before we add in our flour and make the roux. Okay, and I'm noticing that we don't have quite enough oil or grease in our pan. So when I go to put the flour in, it's going to get really thick. I do want to add some more grease to this. If it looks like your pan is getting pretty dry just from adding the spices in, go ahead and add a little bit more fat. This could be any fat that you want to use. It could be oil or lard, tallow, anything that you want to use. I have some bacon grease we're going to use up. I'm just going to do about a tablespoon or two of that bacon grease. I'm just adding it straight into the pan. I don't need a whole lot of oil, just some for the flour to cook in. Perfect. Bacon grease is going to give this a little bit of a different flavor, but that's okay. It's going to be good. All right, now you want to add in some flour. It's usually equal parts flour to grease. I'm going to do about 1/4 of a cup of flour. You want to cook this for a minute or so. Let that flour cook down. You don't want to have a raw flour taste in your gravy. You want to stir it constantly. You don't want to stop stirring it. The flour can burn to the bottom of your pan. And you noticed I didn't add any more salt and pepper. That's because I already added it to the meat. After we add in our broth, I'm going to taste for seasonings and adjust if I need to. All right, we're going to start with 2 cups of the chicken broth. You can use chicken broth or beef broth or vegetable broth if you wanted to. So you can see this is still pretty thick. We're going to add more chicken broth to thin it out. We're just going to add a little bit at a time until we get the consistency that we want. And we want it to be even a little bit thinner than your final consistency. Remember, as this sets, it's going to set up and get thicker. So you want to make sure you go slightly thinner than what you would normally have. All right, so far I've used about 3 cups of chicken broth, and it's pretty thin. That's okay. I'm gonna let this simmer a little bit, and then we'll taste it for seasonings and spices and see if we need to add anything. And then we'll let it simmer long enough to thicken, and then we'll set it aside. All right, before this simmers too long, we do want to add in about a teaspoon of Mexican oregano. And then I'm going to add in about half a teaspoon of chicken bouillon. This is just in the powdered form. I'm going to go ahead and give it a taste. All right, and so far it seems like all the seasonings are just fine. I'm going to let it simmer for about 10 minutes before I taste it again. Those spices will enhance the longer it's been sitting. As your gravy is simmering, you're going to heat up a smaller pan of oil. This can be vegetable oil or canola oil or any oil of your choosing. You're going to take corn tortillas, hold on to one end of them, and you're just going to put it in the oil. Not all the way. You're going to keep holding on to this part. You're going to let it fry for about 2 to 3 seconds, flip it over and do the other side. And then you're going to put it on a plate with paper towels. And then get your next tortilla, do the same thing. And then you're going to put this on the paper towel, but you're going to overlap it. So where my fingers are, I'm going to put that on the opposite end of where they were on the last tortilla. So the spot that didn't hit the oil is getting hot oil from the fresh tortilla that we just placed on it. So what we did is we took 2 blocks of Colby Jack cheese and we just cut them into sticks. Okay, so you're going to take a stick, roll it in a tortilla. Place the tortilla in a 9x13 seam side down, and you're going to do this until you're done with either all of your tortillas or all of your cheese, whichever comes first. So we ended up having enough for 2 pans, which is perfect for our family. I'm just going to take our gravy that we made earlier and pour it over both of these. There's different ways that you can do this. You can add a layer on the bottom of the pan if you want to, or you can even dunk your tortillas into the sauce, or you can do it the way that we did it. It really doesn't matter. All right, once you get your sauce on there, just spread it out. All right, and then I'm gonna add some cheddar cheese to the top. And then you're going to bake this in a preheated oven at 350 degrees until the cheese has been melted. So after about 30 minutes, your enchiladas should be ready to pull out. So we'll go ahead and give it a try. So the cheese on the inside should be completely melted. Everything is warmed through. It really doesn't take too long in the oven because everything was heated except for the cheese. It's going to be really hot. That is a good enchilada. So this, to me, tastes better than anything that you can get in any of the Tex-Mex restaurants here in Texas. It has really great flavor. The chili is not too strong of a flavor. The cheese really helps balance it out. And there is some meat in the chili. It's nice because it's not very meat heavy. Definitely make sure that you fry your tortillas in oil. It gives it the best flavor. If you like this and you want to see more content, go ahead and give me a like and a subscribe, and let me know what other videos you would like to see.
Save some for us.